Deep in the Amazon rainforest, there's a legend whispered among the native tribes of a creature called the Yakumama, or Mother of the Water. This enormous serpent-like being, said to be over 100 feet long, is believed to guard the hidden treasures of the jungle's rivers. In 2017, a group of researchers ventured into the jungle to study its uncharted waterways. Led by Dr. Elena Vargas, the team was prepared for snakes, jaguars, and even deadly insects, but nothing could have prepared them for what they encountered. The expedition started smoothly, with the team cataloging new species and mapping tributaries. But strange occurrences began to unsettle them. Equipment would vanish from their camp only to reappear hours later, damp and covered in slime. At night, they heard low hissing noises that seemed to echo from the riverbanks. Some of the local guides refused to go further, claiming they had seen the shadow of Yakumama moving under the water. One night, as the team was anchored near a deep lagoon, their sonar equipment picked up something massive moving beneath the boat. It was larger than any known aquatic creature. Suddenly, the boat rocked violently. Dr. Vargas barely had time to grab her radio before the boat capsized. In the chaos, she glimpsed a dark shape, its gleaming eyes reflecting the moonlight, before she blacked out. When she awoke on the shore, she was alone. The rest of her team had vanished without a trace. Locals found her days later, babbling about the whispering shadow. To this day, she insists on the existence of the Yakumama, though no further expeditions have dared to seek it. In the rolling hills of Dartmoor, England, there's a chilling tale of a creature that defies explanation. Locals call it the Wistman's Wraith, a shadowy figure with glowing red eyes that prowls the moors at night. For centuries, farmers have found mutilated livestock and strange clawed footprints leading to nowhere. But it wasn't until the winter of 1983 that the legend became undeniable. Thomas Green, a shepherd, lived on the outskirts of the moors. One evening, he noticed his sheep acting strangely, huddling together and bleating in fear. Armed with a lantern and his rifle, Thomas ventured into the misty night to investigate. As he approached the grazing fields, an eerie silence enveloped him. No crickets, no wind, just an unnatural stillness. Then, out of the fog, he saw it. A hulking silhouette, larger than any wolf, with fur as dark as coal. Its eyes burned like embers, and its growl seemed to vibrate through the earth. The creature charged at him, but as Thomas fired his rifle, it vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the sound of its guttural snarl. The next morning, Thomas found his sheep slaughtered, their carcasses arranged in a strange spiral pattern. Authorities dismissed his story as hysteria, but locals knew better. To this day, the Wistman's Wraith is said to haunt the moors, a guardian of ancient, forbidden secrets. Nestled high in the mountains of China and North Korea, Lake Tianchi is a serene, otherworldly place. But beneath its glassy surface lies a mystery that has confounded locals and scientists for decades. Stories of a monstrous, serpentine creature lurking in its depths date back to ancient times. In 2007, however, a group of tourists claimed to have captured the creature on video. The footage showed a large, dark figure moving swiftly across the lake, creating ripples that spread for hundreds of feet. Skeptics dismissed it as a trick of the light, but a local fisherman named Wei Cheng had his own chilling encounter. One summer evening, Wei was fishing alone when his boat was suddenly pulled violently. Thinking he'd snagged a large fish, he tried to reel it in, but the line snapped, and moments later, a massive head surfaced. The creature's eyes were piercing and intelligent, its body covered in smooth, glistening scales. It let out a low, guttural roar before disappearing back into the depths, leaving Wei frozen in terror. Since that night, Wei refuses to fish on Lake Tianchi. Scientists who have studied the lake's ecosystem have yet to find conclusive evidence of a large predator, but the legend of the Tianchi monster endures, with sightings reported as recently as 2022. The Pine Barrens of New Jersey are steeped in folklore, the most infamous being the Jersey Devil. But there's another, lesser-known entity that sends shivers down the spines of those who dare to venture deep into the woods. The Vanishing Watchers. Described as shadowy humanoid figures with glowing eyes, they are said to observe trespassers silently before disappearing. In 1998, a group of friends decided to camp in the Barrens, dismissing the stories as campfire tales. Around midnight, they noticed faint, glowing lights moving between the trees. Thinking it was other campers, they called out, but the lights extinguished instantly. Then came the whispers, incomprehensible guttural murmurs that seemed to surround them. As panic set in, one of the friends, Jenny, screamed and pointed. A tall, shadowy figure stood at the edge of their camp, its eyes glowing like twin orbs of fire. Before anyone could react, it dissolved into the darkness. Terrified, they fled, leaving behind their gear. The next morning, rangers found their campsite untouched, except for a circle of burned earth where the creature had stood. Locals believe the Vanishing Watchers are guardians of the Barrens, warding off those who venture too close to something best left undiscovered. High in the Himalayas, where oxygen is thin and the world feels closer to the heavens, there's a tale of a creature known only as the Nameless. Climbers and Sherpas whisper about its presence on the treacherous slopes of Mount Makalu, the fifth highest peak in the world. Unlike the Yeti, this being is not described in physical terms, but as a shadow, a force that brings an overwhelming sense of dread. In 2011, a seasoned mountaineer, Eric Larson, attempted a solo ascent of Makalu. Halfway through his climb, Eric began to feel an unshakable sensation of being watched. He dismissed it as paranoia until he saw strange footprints in the snow, elongated and clawed, unlike any animal he'd seen. That night, as he sheltered in his tent, the wind howled with an unnatural intensity. Eric awoke to find his tent vibrating as if something enormous was circling it. Suddenly, the fabric tore, and he was thrown into the snow. Dazed, he saw a towering shadow looming over him. It emitted a low hum that resonated in his chest, freezing him in place. When Eric was found days later by a rescue team, he was frostbitten and delirious. He spoke of the Nameless and its chilling presence. Though he survived, Eric never climbed again, haunted by the shadow that stalked him on the mountain.